Nick, are there any good film critics working today?
No. No.
I don't follow any anymore.
No. In my research for doing this episode, I've realized that being a film critic is pretty much a worthless job. It's like being a TMZ reporter. If every film critic, every TMZ reporter, anybody with a job like that got fired, I don't think the world would bat an eye.
Yeah, I agree. I think that they are pretty worthless. Or their work is, at least. I think it was Bret Easton Ellis who put forward this theory, and people have probably said it before him, but he's how I heard about it, that film critics are, when they overpraise things or overhate, they kind of overpraise or overhate a lot more than they used to as a way to sort of just inflate the sense of importance of the cultural conversation about whatever film, to just make their jobs valuable. Mm-hmm. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, yeah, I think that is largely true. I mean, the film industry itself is dying. And I think that critics, whether they're trying to or not, just generally kind of like, I think that they view their job not as what I'm sure you would agree is the point of it, which is to be somebody who can sort of articulate what you're going to get out of a film so that you know whether or not you want to spend your time with it. I don't think they view their job as that. I think they view it as like they are the stewards of the culture, and they're going to point you towards the valuable things that are going to bring us out of the dark cave we're in, So when they see Barbie, they can't just be like, well, this is a Greta Gerwig Barbie movie. Like it's, there's nothing to that movie, but they're going to see all this stuff in it because they have to make it sound like it's important and it's game changing.
That every movie is important for the culture, not just of filmmaking, but for America, where everybody says one thing we like jokingly talk about is saying, this movie has a great heart. That's what a lot of hack directors and movie reviewers too say. When a movie's like bad, but it was funny, maybe the cast had good chemistry. Like, yeah, it's a great heart. Mm-hmm. That is one of the most worthless things I think I could ever hear when somebody's trying to tell me about a movie.
Yeah, it's a way of deflecting from talking about quality because you're saying, well, the intention was good. Yeah,
who cares?
It's like if you criticize anyone's work, artistic or not, and then you respond, well, he is a nice guy. It's like, well, does that matter?
We made dog shit, so. Yeah.
Like, oh, my coworker, he's fucking up. He's making everyone's lives really hard, but he's a nice guy. It's the same logic. To me, I think that criticism, especially film criticism, is the work of the quote unquote common man. Not that, and people use that or probably hear that and think that's synonymous with saying like the dumb man, because everybody thinks that the average person is way dumber than them and they're like really smart. Mm-hmm. And that is true for us. But I think that it is the work of the common man, meaning if you're a good critic, a quote unquote good critic is somebody who's going to have they have a special ability to articulate exactly what the objective aspects of the movie going experience are. So that if you know that you respond to certain qualities, you can pick to spend your time with that thing. That is their job. Their job is to see the film, absorb it, and digest it, and be able to explain in few words or in a short review or in a YouTube video or whatever. Going back to, Siskel and Ebert, they were the only televised review show, right?
As far as I know, for a long time. If not, still only the first.
Yeah, they are the great grandfathers of what we have now, with just this glut of people who make content reviewing things who don't have any real, there's no reason that they should be doing it and the Joe Schmo off the street couldn't do it as good or better job, Anyway, I feel personally like as time has gone on, I used to follow certain critics that were not necessarily like these celebrity critics, but I had some that I found that I liked, that I enjoyed the way that they spoke. And I didn't necessarily agree with their opinions or their takes on everything, but I enjoyed them. But every single, and there has not a lot of these people, but every single one that I did enjoy have now just become part of the Peter Travers, Owen Gleiberman, A.O. Scott cartel of importance inflation criticism, which I'm now coining.
Yes, you heard it here first. Ebert actually had a very good quote when I was researching this, where he says, "A good review should tell someone what kind of movie it is. Even if you give it a bad review, they should be able to tell if they should go see it." Because Ebert has 8,000 reviews on his website.
Okay.
Which is a crazy amount of movies he's seen. But you look at any single one, even back early in his career, I think he started writing in 1967. You can look at any of his reviews, positive or negative, and he does pretty consistently do a good job of telling you what's in the movie. I will say, though, sometimes he ends up spoiling really big elements of stuff, which is frustrating. Like some of our favorite movies that have twists, he basically at the end will be like, yes, and there's a moment that's very pivotal with blah, blah, blah. And like, well, you just gave away the ending.
Yeah, now I'm going to have my antenna up to be looking at why that's going to be meaningful. And yeah, the experience is going to be ruined for me now. Many film critics have this sickness that Ebert had in spades, where they're so convinced that their gut reaction is like their instincts are exactly correct of diagnosing, being a detective about what the intent was behind something. And you sometimes listen to their reviews and you're like, that's not only are you wrong, I don't know how anybody with like a modicum of intelligence could even entertain that theory.
Yes, this is one thing where...
Especially with horror movies.
This is why I wanted to do this, because Ebert is probably one of the most respected film critics.
He's number one for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But some of the opinions he has are so stupid and so like surface level observation wise that it's like, how are you a professional critic? I kind of like wanted to make a profile on him. I wanted to psychoanalyze him.
Yeah.
And I kind of came to the conclusion that he, like most people, they want to be challenged and see something that's like, ooh, this like challenges whatever, but not really.
Yeah.
They want to be safely challenged.
Moral horror fans.
Exactly.
He was a moral horror fan.
Yes. And it is funny of what stuff he thinks actually does challenge him. Because he said his least favorite movie of all time is I Spit on Your Grave.
Really?
Yes. And for anyone that doesn't know, this is a rape revenge movie that is very good. Caleb owns it physical, has watched it 20 times, won't stop talking about it. But that is a movie that definitely does challenge you on almost objectively.
Were you going to say very poke you in the eye with its transgressive? It's a very, because I haven't seen it. I know about it. I mean, it's like Irreversible. I've basically seen it through cultural osmosis and YouTube and everything. But like, I'm guessing I Spit on Your Grave is very much we're going to be shocking and we're not even going to pretend to have a quote unquote light touch or deft touch. We're just going to show you what it is and it's going to be shocking and you're going to be like, oh my God, how could they put this in theaters?
Oh yeah. It's like exploitation. Yeah, for sure. And this is one thing where I can't really understand why he's so inconsistent, because I have two movies here. So Blue Velvet, for the record, his rating system is out of 4 stars. He gave Blue Velvet 1 out of 4, which is crazy.
Okay.
And he seems to have like this weird relationship with like sex. Like he'll like some movies like David Cronenberg's Crash, which is about people who are sexually attracted to car crashes. And he loved that movie. He thought it was great. But then something like Blue Velvet, I guess, is the wrong kind of sex in his brain, even though there are some erotic scenes in Blue Velvet that are actually like consensual. But I guess to him, like, for example, we, for one of our episodes, reviewed the movie Kids by Larry Clark. What do you think he gave Kids out of 4?
3.5. No, 2.5.
3.5. You're
right.
Oh,
really? Okay.
It is unbelievable that he finds Blue Velvet exploitative, but not Kids. A movie in which a guy like rapes a 13-year-old girl and gives her AIDS.
Yeah.
And he's just like, yeah, the movie had a lot to say. It's transgressive. It's like, well, Blue Velvet also has a lot to say, but that's not your style of transgressive. Even though it's a more like, it's funny because Kids is super out there in terms of filmmaking and subject matter. Blue Velvet is pretty restrained by those same metrics.
I'm putting together this theory now, and I could be way off. Do you know about Isabella Rossellini's husbands?
Yeah, she either dated or married to David Lynch.
Oh, I did not know that. I thought that they just like flirted during the making of that movie.
They were a couple for sure. She also dated Martin Scorsese, I believe.
She was married to Martin Scorsese.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking of.
And him. Ebert saw himself as Scorsese's like big brother. Ebert was a champion of Scorsese when he was I guess you'd say middling wannabe filmmaker before Mean Streets. And Ebert was a big champion of Who's Knocking at My Door. Him and Cassavetes both, there's like stories about them like counseling Scorsese after he did Boxcar Bertha and being like, no, this is not the way. Ebert was a big champion of Mean Streets and a big champion of everything Scorsese did. And I think he viewed himself as like the reason Scorsese is successful. I mean, Mean Streets was not a big success. You know, like Ebert is not the reason Scorsese hit. Like Taxi Driver was going to happen either way.
Yeah.
It's not, but I think he viewed himself as like a steward to Scorsese. And I'm wondering, is it possible that Scorsese was bitter about this other director who's like, you know, having sex with Isabella Rossellini and then all right, action. And then just having her go from his bed onto camera naked, dancing around. And you know what I mean? Do you think Ebert was like, you know, I'm going to get one back for my friend. So he had to invent some reasons to hate the movie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So you're saying that he wanted to impress Big Brother Marty.
Possibly. Or he thought he was defending him.
Yeah. I need to defend Marty's honor for his babe.
It's possible. Because I agree, there is no consistency to his like quote unquote like moral, not even quote unquote actually, it is just how he reviewed things. He sometimes just took a bizarre, like very I guess conservative, I don't really know how to put it, but just very like Puritan moral stance on certain things where it was like, this isn't that deep, bro.
Yes. He also has something in relation to violence that I thought was really funny. He kind of embodies that, I don't want to use this pejorative all the time, but you know, the boomer mindset of like anything, and there are outliers, of course, because I guess he thought Kids was great, but that like sex and violence are things that are just like, oh, you have to be really careful when you show this in a movie. You can't explore it in any interesting way. That's what I thought he was. And then he has inconsistencies like Kids and other stuff. But in terms of violence, have you ever seen The Brood by David Cronenberg?
No, I've seen 3 Cronenberg movies and they're all from the aughts.
Okay. So The Brood is basically a movie where a lady creates like little trauma midgets that go and attack people. Okay. They're like weird, like albino babies.
Okay.
And it's, you know, supposed to be like a metaphor for like, you know, motherhood and a bunch of other like guilt and rage and stuff like that. It's not by any means extremely violent. Ebert gave it a 1 out of 4 for, quote, being disgusting in ways that are not entertaining, like Dawn of the Dead and Alien.
Okay, there's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah, so you think about that first, and he's just like, well, first of all, in his own words, he's just like, it should be disgusting in a way that is entertaining. But then he famously didn't like The Thing.
Yeah.
The Brood also isn't that disgusting. The worst thing that happens in the movie, I think, is like these little kids like stab some chick to death. Mm-hmm. It isn't anything like people's guts flying out or whatever.
Yeah.
So sometimes he'll take some like moral grandstanding that just doesn't make any sense. It's like, this was bad to you, but you think the Alien is how is Alien more?
How is it a example of these extreme adjectives you're using to character assassinate something that you just didn't respond to, that was not exploitative in nature? Is that kind of what you mean?
Yeah. Here's the thing. Trying to analyze this is like analyzing. He has like schizophrenia in his writing.
Well, yeah. So I think, I don't know how much you know about Michael Moore.
I know stuff he's done.
Ebert and Michael Moore have a lot in common, and not just in their diet. They both, I think, I mean, because Michael Moore does do this, and Ebert, I bet, I just know in my soul did this same thing. They both start with how they feel, and then they go, okay, let me try to find whatever I can. Let me just scrounge to create stuff to quote unquote justify or explain the feeling I have.
Confirmation bias.
Yes. Let me look for a way to, and a lot of critics do this. Ebert did it especially, and it's maddening because you don't have to like, what was this called? Baby Invasion? In this movie?
The Brood.
The Brood. You don't have to like The Brood. You don't have to, I don't care about Alien. If that movie was deleted from history, I would feel nothing. I don't give a shit. But it would be absurd for me to pretend the reason I don't like Alien is this, like, it would be stupid of me to try to intellectualize it outside of just, I didn't like it. I was bored. I didn't care about the characters. Ebert might have not liked it because of the violence aspect, and maybe there is something he has where he just feels like if violence isn't done, if it's done in like a nihilistic way, or if you have like just cruelty with violence, because that does seem to be something he hates, is like cruel violence specifically. Mm-hmm. So he just, yeah, he's like the father. He views himself as like the dad who's going to like decide what the kids are watching, and the kids are the rest of the world basically. And he's deciding what's good and what's bad for you and for your developing brains, because he's the master, you know. He has this air of arrogance about him where he's just very sure that he's right objectively about things that are subjective. But I think that he did just start with the end. I think if he watched something, if he didn't respond to it, he can't just say, it didn't grab me because of this. He has to make it about either a moral issue or an intellectual thing, or we're pattern seeking, and he'll just, the constellations he draws of trying to connect dots to make it seem like things are more meaningful than they really are, and therefore good, just because he happened to like something that was mediocre. Mm-hmm. It's maddening. I hate him.
Sometimes you can resonate with a movie that's mid.
Yeah.
I mean, some of my favorite movies, like when we watched Vampires, that movie's like 2.5, 3 stars out of 5. Yeah. That was a fucking great time.
Yeah.
Watching that. I had so much fun. But I can also rationalize in my brain that that movie does have problems that are easily identifiable in terms of like, you know, pacing, how certain things are shot. In my brain, I can be like, well, I understand that I like this a little more just because I like the violence in it, but I can also be objective.
Yeah.
I did want to talk about probably one of the most famous directors he had a problem with, John Carpenter.
Yes, you've told me about this. This is a big blind spot for me with Ebert.
Okay, so John Carpenter is one of my favorite directors. I've seen pretty much everything he's ever done except like that fucking Chevy Chase one.
The Invisible Man?
Yes. It looks fucking stupid.
It does.
But historically, Siskel and Ebert, when Halloween came out, which I believe was 79, they gave it 4 stars, thumbs up, lauded it, and said it was like one of the scariest movies ever made. And I can see if you're in 1979. I like Halloween, but really,
yeah,
it's whatever.
Yeah, it's not Repulsion.
No, it's just like a very safe horror movie too. It's something that isn't very challenging because Michael Myers is just evil incarnate, and he goes around stabbing people.
Yeah.
So to them, that is an okay kind of violence. To see a kid murder his babysitter, but like I guess Blue Velvet is just like too far to.
I think the cruelty thing, I think suffering, I think Ebert had a major problem with whether it's violence or sex or, well, I guess those are the main two. Maybe there's other things that could play into this, but I think he had a real problem with it. It irked him, I think, when pretty much anyone who isn't Martin Scorsese explored cruelty or nihilism or, unconsensual sex. I mean, like those things, he always, maybe he won't even point to that. Like he won't admit that's the thing, but that is always the common element in the things that he'll just have like opinions that don't make sense. Cause you can tell, cause he has reviews. I've seen many episodes of their show of Siskel and Ebert at the movies or whatever on YouTube. And you can tell when he's talking about something that he liked and he doesn't have to pretend. Like he's reviewing something that is pretty much objectively good and he responded well to it. You can tell when it's genuine because what he's saying makes sense, but he frequently contradicts himself when he's reviewing things he didn't like. Whenever a review starts with, I hated this movie, guaranteed whatever follows that is really just going to be him kind of mentioning like random little details of the movie, calling out a certain actor's performance or the director's intent, which is always just guesswork. And it's like designed. You're watching it and you're hearing him say all these things, and then the review wraps up, and he never actually built up to anything. It's like when you do like peer review essays in English, like in high school, and you read someone's essay and you're like, well, you talked about a lot of stuff, but you never actually, like, you established these different factors, but you never actually designed the equation where it ends up at this conclusion about the thing. Like, he just sort of starts with his thesis, fills time, and then repeats the thesis. And you're like, wait, what?
I mean, he definitely at a certain point, I think, just had to make content.
Yeah.
Which is what ruins a film reviewer. I mean, when you watch 8,000 movies, like his website apparently says he has, and you have to write 8,000 reviews.
Sure.
At a certain point, you're just going through the motions.
Yeah.
And I feel like at a certain point early on in his career, he's just like, oh, fuck. I'm famous now. I have to do this for the rest of my life. I have to watch like a movie a day and write something interesting. So
that was his hobby. I guess you do burn out anything. You're doing too much. Although 8,000 movies for that career. So let's do some math. So 8,000 movies. Is it exactly 8,000?
It was pretty close. Yeah, it was like 8,000 some change.
Roughly 8,000 movies over a 46-year career is an average of 174 a year.
It's about one every 2 days.
Yeah. So if 2 or 3 movies, I guess that stands to reason. If 2 or 3 movies are coming out in a week, every weekend for most weeks out of the year, you're kind of reviewing most of what comes out for a decent amount of time. And maybe he was doing less back in the day because I think he got because originally his criticism was like, it wasn't like a weekly column, I don't think. I think it was like, Roger Ebert's whatever, because I think he just was like a newspaper guy, and then he kind of segued, and then he became a regular. He was the critic for the Chicago Tribune, And then eventually I think he was like just his own independent guy, so he's probably writing more pieces, just staying at home with his family and, just being rich.
So like I said earlier, famously loves Halloween. He's very lukewarm or negative on the rest of Carpenter's career, except for one movie, which everyone considers his worst, Ghosts of Mars.
What?
He gave Ghosts of Mars 3 out of 4. And Ghosts of Mars is like, it's objectively his worst movie.
It's a disease. It's the defining. It's that Ghosts of Mars and Mission to Mars. I don't know what it is about Mars. Those movies are like the quintessential, like, this movie's giving me a fever movies.
Yes. And I will say one thing. What do you think his highest rated Carpenter movie besides Halloween is?
Well, I mean, the obvious guess would be The Thing, but I doubt.
It's not The Thing.
Let me think of what Carpenter was. Is it like The Fog or Christine or something?
It is not The Fog or Christine. He was a little lukewarm on The Fog.
What else did Carpenter do that's not like shitty? I know there's others. Oh, was it Starman?
It was not Starman.
Fuck.
Starman is a great movie.
I love Starman.
And I mean, you could go through his entire filmography and you're never going to guess what it is. It is Escape from LA.
Fuck. Oh my God.
Which is the worst out of the two. I don't know how he can fucking like stand here and say this, because he had a problem with Escape from New York, and I forget what it was, but he definitely was just like, oh, I didn't like it, whatever. Like, trying to find problems with it. There are definitely stuff that he just can't rationalize, but he needs to like fill time. Famously though, have you ever seen They Live?
No, but I've seen the scenes that people replace with Israel.
Okay, moving on. There's a scene. Okay, so the whole premise of They Live is that aliens have hidden themselves amongst humanity.
Yeah.
And the only way you can see them is with these glasses that show you the real world. Mm-hmm. They red pill you. So there's a scene at the end where a bunch of aliens are exposed, and there's people sitting in a bar watching a TV show, which is 2 movie reviewers that are both aliens. And there's a guy that looks just like Gene Siskel going like, today, like, violence in movies has gone on too far. You have these directors like George Romero and John Carpenter, and then like trails off. So it pretty much was just Carpenter being like, well, fuck you fucking
yeah,
like my movies, you're
yeah.
And then
good on him.
And I will say this. So you can go on his site and see all the archived reviews by director. There is a very noticeable gap between Carpenter films where They Live is not on the site and they never watched it. But they had to have watched it probably because he was a big director still at the time. Yeah. They watched his movies before and after.
Sure.
I think they watched the movie, were going, okay, fine. And then they see the scene making fun of them and they decide, we can't show this. Fuck you. I bet they had a moment where they were just boiling with impotent rage. Just, oh my God, we got made fun of. You can't do that.
Yeah. Siskel, I gotta say, Siskel definitely, so they didn't get along. And some people think it's a bit that they were like bickering. They really didn't like each other very much. And I think, I mean, 2 shitty people cannot get along because they're both shitty. I would be willing to bet that Siskel was probably, I think Siskel, he is a very consistent, in my opinion, reviewer.
More than Ebert, for sure.
When I watch their show and they're reacting to something, the types of things that Siskel will respond to and take a moral issue with is, number 1, less common, and number 2, it is consistent. You can kind of tell. You're like, I bet that he's going to have this general opinion about this thing. And he was a more like easygoing reviewer. I would bet that Siskel would be willing to roll with the punches. And he actually did. There's in Independence Day. Do you know about that?
No.
The connection? Roland Emmerich, one of the greats, they had poorly reviewed, I think, he'd probably only made, I think, Stargate at that point, but, he's a terrible director and they trashed it. Mm-hmm. And in Independence Day, there is a Roger Ebert guy. There's a guy who looks like Roger Ebert who's constantly eating candy. And he's saying things that Ebert would say. You could look it up. It's funny. And I don't think there's a shot at Siskel in the movie because Siskel wasn't just the cunt that Ebert was. So I think that Siskel got a lot less shit, and I'd be willing to bet that if they skipped They Live, it was Ebert's demand.
Yeah, he probably had a baby rage and was just we can't do this. I hated it.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen the famous Home Alone clip on their show?
No.
So let me ask you something.
Joe Pesci with the Oscars?
No, not this one.
Oh, okay,
something different. So what do you think is Roger Ebert's favorite Home Alone movie? Well, here's the thing. Let me tell you. Let me ask you then. What's your favorite Home Alone movie?
Home Alone.
Exactly. That's everybody's answer.
Yeah, the second one has the ending of the second one is great, where the whole building is a trap. That's pretty cool.
It is an interesting idea.
That's I like that. But yeah, the movie is kind of whatever.
Anyway, so the point I'm making is everybody can almost unanimously agree that Home Alone 1 is the best one, and then it kind of goes down from there. His favorite Home Alone is Home Alone 3.
I didn't know there was a 3.
It doesn't have Macaulay Culkin in it.
Okay.
And it does suck. I saw it when I was a kid and I was like, this is fucking When you hate a movie as a kid, that's when you know it's bad.
It's a bad sign.
Yes, because kids are just so uncritical of stuff, but it has to be extremely... I remember watching fucking Son of the Mask.
Oh, with the guy, the discount Jim Carrey? Yes. Who is that? Yes. Yeah. He's a failed comedian who's 45 and probably molesting a girl right now.
Yeah, comedy club, he's probably doing that.
Who's that guy?
I forget his name, but anyway, as a kid, I think I had a VHS tape of The Mask, and I was like, oh, this is great. I'm a kid. This is cool. And I watched Son of the Mask, and I was like, Mom, can we bring this back? It was that bad.
Yeah, that was shitty, mommy.
That was one of those things. That and Master of Disguise were 2 movies as a kid where I'm just this is just irredeemable. But anyway,
that was Mission to Mars for me.
Mission to Mars.
Mission to Mars. That's a vivid childhood memory of Dad, I do not like this. What's wrong? Movies are supposed to be good.
Anyway, in this clip, Ebert is just yeah, Home Alone 3, worked for me and did all this stuff. And Siskel is just I cannot believe what I'm hearing right now. He was getting defensive. He was how it's to him. He's how can you think that the third is the best? If he's you're making a case for 2 because you like the bigger, you like it in the city, in the hotel, whatever. Sure. It's whatever.
Yeah.
But it's you like the worst kid?
Yeah. I'm curious to look this. Is it a disease movie? Is it unbelievably bad, or is it just a mediocre?
No. From what I remember, I watched this 20 years ago.
Oh, okay.
But from what I can remember, it pretty much is just why did they made this because they had the Home Alone IP and it was they thought they could make money.
Is French Stewart in this movie?
Yeah, I don't remember the cast of Home Alone 3. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I'm gonna have to look this up. I'm getting a vague feeling, maybe it's something else. I have a vague feeling Red Letter Media actually talked about. I remember there's a movie with French Stewart. Maybe it was a ripoff of Home Alone.
So there are 2 more things I want to get into. One is an inconsistency, and another one is something that I think is just so baffling for a guy who loves movies to say. Mm-hmm. So in 1999, I believe, or 2000, Scary Movie came out.
Okay.
And the idea of Ebert sitting down to watch Scary Movie is so funny. He gave it a pretty decent review where he's just yeah, it's a comedy and, they're making fun of horror movies. But he had a quote where he's just the MPAA needs to add an adults-only rating to movies. Kids are watching this movie being subjected to genitals in their face.
God.
It's first of all, the movie's rated R, so a kid's not going to go in there unless their parent brings them in. Mm-hmm. And if they sneak in, it's well, how can you prevent against that?
Yeah.
The idea of a film critic wanting to make restrict people seeing movies is so baffling to me. If anything, he should want to I'm fine with people having rating systems prevent kids from walking into 50 Shades or something.
Sure.
But the idea that you want to restrict first of all, Scary Movie. You're not restricting the Brown Bunny or something that has unsimulated sex in it.
Yeah, it's not the dragon tattoo rape scene.
Exactly.
It's a silly even if you are too young to see that, it's not gonna scar you. You're gonna be whoa.
Marlon Wayans is gay in this movie, dude. It's not that fucking deep.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that kind of soured me on him as well. I'm just why are you trying to restrict fucking like comedy movies and all this shit.
God complex. He thought he was the governing, I'm going to tell you what's good for you. He just had that instinct.
I mean, I feel like I can definitely see why Siskel and him were just like butting heads all the time. Because if you are constantly working with somebody who's just like thinks they're messianic, I mean, Jesus Christ. One thing that I also thought was hilarious. There's an interview in 2000 on Charlie Rose where Charlie is just like, can you tell me some of your favorite movies? And he's just like, oh, yeah, I really liked The Nutty Professor 2. He's like, that's one of my top 10. Well, first of all, if anybody ever said The Nutty Professor 2 is their top 10 of the year, you should kill that person.
It's because he related to the character.
Another thing.
Joke number 2.
He also really liked a movie called The Perfect Storm. Have you ever seen this?
I have, and it's fucking terrible. And it's because his friend wrote it. That's why he liked it.
Oh, really?
I would bet.
Okay.
Bo Goldman wrote it.
So the reason why he said he liked this movie is because of all the CGI and like waves and stuff. And, you know, there is a reason to like movies like that and like Twister because of, you know, it's a big event.
Sure.
It's a disaster movie.
Yeah.
But he, earlier in his career, going back to John Carpenter, gave like Big Trouble in Little China 2 stars, which is crazy because it had too much special effects.
Rod, what is with his fucking obsession with visual effects? Because I've seen so Perfect Storm and what was it? No, it wasn't Gladiator. That was one where he actually had a problem with the video. He randomly, that is like a sticking point for him when reviewing things of, well, the special effects really carried this thing. And it's like, that's a literal child's opinion. You know what I mean? Like you mentioned Twister. The Perfect Storm, the storm in it does look cool, but you'd have to be kind of dumb for that to be your favorite part of the movie. I mean, it's kind of a bad movie, so maybe that is your favorite part. I guess that is technically valid, but if you liked the movie, the waves shouldn't have been the reason. But then also, he'll review things that have perfectly serviceable visual effects, whatever, and I guess this just became a moot point once CGI was generally good. Like, visual effects used to be, I guess, a real thing that a reviewer had to take into consideration when they're reviewing something, whereas now you can kind of take it for granted that unless it's something where, like, they rushed it, unless it's like The Electric State or whatever it was, like, generally visual effects, even when they're not very good, they're fine. Like, we might call it shitty, but the average person watching it isn't gonna really care. You know, they already know, like, you know, no one really gets that. He ranked the visual effects, like that was like in his top 5, like things to consider when totaling his score for his stupid 4-star system.
First of all, can we talk about how stupid 4 stars is instead of 5? This is a pet peeve of mine. I fucking hate when people have 4 stars.
I don't understand 4 stars if you're going to be able to do half stars. I get it with like Letterboxd where you have 5 stars, you can do half, so it's basically 1 out of 10.
Sure.
Although they don't let you do 0, which you should be able to do on Letterboxd, by the way. I'm writing a letter to them. Yeah, I don't understand. I get 4 stars if you can give 0 to 4 and no halves, where you're like 0 is like, you know, skip it. 1 is like, this is bad. 2 is this is below average. 3 is this is above average. 4 is this is good, worth seeing. But that's not, I don't understand his system. It's like Fantano's system. You're like, okay, you're giving it numbers, but what does this actually mean?
Yeah.
There's no, you don't have anything you can relate it to. There's no other rubric in like human society that is similar that you can kind of, you know what I mean? Like supplement in your mind how that works.
It's so arbitrary too, because like how humans count is, you know, base 10. And he's just like, well, 5 stars in your mind, you can be like, okay, half a star is 1 out of 10 and all that. It's like 4, when you do half a star, it's like, that's technically like 12.5% of it. And it's just something, this is a pet peeve and I'm being autistic and I'm about this, but it pisses me off.
Yeah.
And this is just the icing on the cake for how much Ebert pisses me off.
It's just like Fantano. Like you kind of know, like with multiple albums that have come out these last 2 years, like I don't watch Fantano reviews, but he's weirdly just become, he's popular, but he's become like in the circuit of my YouTube feed again, like lately. But you already kind of know, like there's multiple albums that have come out that I've listened to and I'm like, I know exactly what his general response is going to be. He's going to say, this is good, sort of worth it, great, skip it. But the actual number he assigns is kind of just like what he talks about and what he decides to highlight in his reviews doesn't really point you towards whatever the score is going to be. There are things he's given a 10 where you're like, the review is like, this is pretty darn good. Perfect score. And you're like, what?
Well, what
this
about
was
it?
Leading up to that. Yeah. Ebert has the same thing where like when you actually read the review, you're like, I mean, not for everything. Sometimes a 4-star review, you read it. He is just gushing about basically every quality of it. But again, it's only when he loves something.
It's inconsistent.
The only time he actually forms the argument is when he just basically unabashedly loves something.
One thing I wanted to show you is his top 10 movies of all time.
Oh my god.
Because
drink before we do that.
This will definitely make you understand his mindset of what he likes and doesn't like more.
All right.
So
let me write this down.
First thing you're going to notice is that none of these are really like out there picks.
Okay.
I feel like you and I in our top 10 list have something where some people wouldn't really gel with it, but to us it like hits really personally.
Is this ranked? Is it in an order?
This is unranked. This was his Sight and Sound magazine thing, and those are unranked.
Lay it on me.
All right. First one, Casablanca.
Okay.
Which is, you know, it's a good movie, but it's very like, okay, that's your favorite. Citizen Kane.
Okay.
Floating Weeds, which is an Ozu movie, which is it also isn't Ozu's best movie.
I'll allow that one.
Anyway. Gates of Heaven.
Gates of Heaven?
Yes, not Heaven's Gate. Gates of Heaven.
What's Gates of Heaven?
I'm not sure, actually.
We should look that up.
La Dolce Vita.
Wrong.
Notorious.
Wrong.
Not the Notorious B.I.G. biopic, by the way. The obvious Scorsese dick suck, Raging Bull.
I'll allow it.
It's a good movie. The Third Man.
Okay.
Caleb just gave me the biggest side eye. This is a documentary series, but it's the first one's called 7 Up. His favorite is 28 Up.
Oh, okay. I really thought you were going to say Hoop Dreams there.
Hoop Dreams. And last one, I mean, what do all boomers love?
Ooh, okay, wait.
Give
me the decade.
60s.
2001?
Yes.
Oh my, okay. I'd like to say I did not look this up.
First try.
Very proud.
Didn't even edit that.
Oh my god.
So when you look at these, you can realize that these are a lot of like surface level picks. Casablanca, Citizen Kane, 2001. Those are stuff that when somebody's just like, I mean, those are pretty decently liked movies at a base level for most people.
Yeah.
Everybody can be like, yeah, I saw that and it was good. It's kind of the thing of how like Shawshank Redemption is the #1 movie on IMDb.
Yeah.
But it's like, if that was anyone's favorite movie, I'd be like, really?
Really? I'm not doing a bit. You really would question that if that was someone's favorite?
I don't know. It just doesn't speak to me.
Well, sure, but can you imagine it working? It's not my favorite movie. I've only seen it once. I saw it actually. It was the first movie that Victoria and I watched together. I've only seen it once, and that was almost a decade ago now, and I still remember almost all of it. Like, it is pretty... It's not my favorite, but I could understand someone loving it. It is kind of like... It kind of covers the gamut of, like, human emotion and everything.
I'm sure. I mean, yeah, it's like, one of those movies that's like...
I want to watch The Thing.
Yeah, The Thing speaks to me more. Shawshank isn't a bad movie by any means.
Yeah.
The fact that it's the #1 movie on IMDb, is just crazy.
I think my personal way of valuing movies is a little closer to sort of how the IMDb top 250 works, in that, like, I couldn't tell you the full top 10, but I'm pretty sure I'm accurate when I say that it's like Shawshank, Dark Knight, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, The Godfather. Mm-hmm. I could be wrong, but it's stuff that kind of, it's just like when you see like a Chris Stuckman video start and there's like a collage of movie characters and stuff. It's those like Pulp Fiction is probably in the top 10. Mm-hmm. You know, it's stuff that like kind of anyone anywhere could watch and enjoy. And it's just it's the biggest Venn diagram of what you could like. Here's what's wrong with Ebert's list. Do you remember there was somebody that you found on Letterboxd where their top 4 movies were like 2001, The Godfather, Sound of Music, and, Casablanca? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. I forget who it was, but yeah.
And we were looking at it and we were just like, oh, dear God. Because all of those movies are acceptable top 5 picks for people. None of them are in my top 5, but they're all objectively worth something,
sure,
right? In the eyes of most, at least. But if one of those is your favorite, the other ones aren't. Like, there's no person who one of your favorite films is 2001. If you have the kind of brain where that movie really turns you on, The Sound of Music is probably not also in your top 4. And if those two happen to be, The Godfather probably also isn't. You're just a guy who looked at the IMDb top 250 and went, I get my opinion.
Yeah, I was about to say, you just Googled good movies.
This fucking so Casablanca and Citizen Kane. So I like Casablanca. You could argue that all of these movies are overrated. Because Casablanca, Citizen Kane, 2001, you could maybe argue Raging Bull. and you could definitely argue Dolce Vita and Third Man. All of those movies are not necessarily as good as everyone makes them out to be, but they are good. But if he's just picking stuff that's unimpeachable, and then he threw in some special stuff to make it look like he has real taste with the 7-Up bullshit and with, not that that sucks, but like that obviously stands out here.
This is one thing where I'm just like, that probably was your real opinion.
Yes.
Where it actually hit you.
Yes. I believe him that Raging Bull is in his top 10. He really responds to the way Scorsese makes movies and everything. And if you're creating a list for Sight and Sound, it's not necessarily the 10 movies you're watching all the time, but it's like, I'm advertising to the world. This is what I think. Nobody likes all of these in there. There isn't a personality. This is such a fraudulent list. I can't even put into words why, but
yes, and this is something I want to tell you about too. So on his
I'm so mad.
On his website, you can sort all his reviews by the day the date the movie came out.
Yeah.
So you can go back and see like him watching like old Charlie Chaplin stuff, like Gold Rush or like Great Dictator. So that's what I did. I went back and I'm just like, what is like the oldest movie he reviewed? And it was definitely one of those. And I did notice an interesting pattern. So a lot of these movies he reviewed like over the course of the career, like looking back like in the 90s, 2000s. He didn't review obviously in 1920 because he wasn't alive. Mm-hmm. But I noticed that from 1929, 30 until 1964, he gave every single movie he watched from that era 4 stars, except for a couple. And there is that thing of, oh, he's probably going back and looking at the classics. But really, you went back and every single thing from the 40s was a 4 out of 4 for you. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've seen movies from the 30s and 40s. I've seen silent stuff that are not perfect movies, by his criteria, even.
He wants to be liked, and he'll break from the herd when it's something that you can't get mad at him for, like Nutty Professor.
Yes.
Because it's unreasonable to be like, fuck you, you like the Nutty Professor, because it's the Nutty Professor. So that's the only time he'll break from the pack.
And I did also notice the thing is basically he is ready on his knees to suck Hitchcock's dick.
Like a lot of critics.
At all times. And one thing that was really funny, I started looking at just different directors in general, because you could sort by directors too. So I looked up De Palma. He reviewed Dressed to Kill, gave it 3 stars. And Dressed to Kill is a good movie. I like that movie a lot. He, in the review, in like the last paragraph, it was a contemporary review, so this was, I believe, 88 when he did this. He says, yeah, Dressed to Kill is good, but it's not Hitchcock. It's like, well, first of all, why would you need to mention that in your review? It's not like he in his review is just like, well, he's obviously trying to be Alfred Hitchcock and doing like the same thing as this. And it's like, well, first of all, I don't know. Did you ask De Palma?
He thinks he's the one that picked up on it.
Yeah, he's just like, I've noticed that sometimes.
It's not trying to pretend that it's not just Psycho.
Yeah.
He didn't think he was getting one by the goalie. But Roger Ebert's like, actually, this is a remake of Psycho disguised as.
And it's not as good. And Brett De Palma's like, what is this saying to me in the newspaper? Would you like to guess what his favorite De Palma movie is?
Ooh, okay, so I'm on a little bit of a hot streak with the 2001 thing. Okay, favorite De Palma movie. Can I get the decade, or would that be too obvious? Is it the 80s?
2000s.
No. Mm-hmm. Okay, I know what it is. Well, and here's the thing. So this is unfair because De Palma did 4 movies in the 2000s, and 3 of them are literal diarrhea. So it has, well, and this one is too, but it's considered good by some people. Femme Fatale.
Yes.
Yeah, that stands to.
That's his highest.
Mission to Mars. I mean, if it was any of those 3, straight to jail. But also, Femme Fatale sucks ass too.
Yeah, Redacted I think was like half a star lower than this. But
what?
Yeah, it's some of his reviews are very interesting. So okay, everything we've talked about so far about how much he hates sex, violence, how some of it is like meaningless and like not saying anything. Mm-hmm. Lars von Trier's Antichrist. Have you seen this?
The movie or his review?
The movie.
And I've seen that scene.
Yeah. I don't even want to tell the people listening what this scene is because it will make you.
Actually, I guess there's 2 the scenes.
Scenes.
I've seen both of them. Okay. I've seen the scene with the window, and I've seen the scene with the tree.
Oh, okay.
In the woods. The scene in the woods where he's sitting on the tree stump.
Okay.
I've seen those 2 iconic scenes. So.
Oh shit! Well, there's another scene I don't think you've seen, but he gave Antichrist 3.5 stars. So that's not too far.
Okay.
Well, like seriously, that's.
And he gave Redacted. Sorry, how many stars did he give Femme Fatale? You said it was his highest reviewed, right?
I believe it was 4.
And he gave Redacted 3.5.
Yes.
Those are 2 of the Redacted. Okay, you want to talk about disease movies? Redacted is one of the pinnacle. When Chris and I copyrighted Disease Movie in our like initial conversation, Redacted was one of the movies we talked about. That is, I'm guessing you haven't seen it. I haven't seen it, no. We need to do a commentary on Redacted. It's one of the most like just, you know that movie John Carpenter did, the found footage zombie, The Asylum? What's it called? The Ward? Oh, yeah. Was that John? Or no, that was George Romero. I think it was, right? The Ward?
The Ward was Carpenter. That was like 06.
Oh, that was okay. Well, George Romero did also do
The Ward isn't found footage.
Okay, then I'm combining things. I think then it must be that Romero did a found footage. Those guys in that decade were like, what if you filmed it on a camcorder and you did the worst thing ever? The fact that he reviewed that 3.5, I don't care about anyone's taste. That's just objectively wrong. Straight to jail. Femme Fatale is a dumb, stupid movie. Giving that 4 stars, straight to jail. I'm so mad I can barely even talk. Like, I'm slurring and I'm stone cold sober right now.
2 last movies that I thought were hilarious. 3, really. Going back in his, catalog when he's just reviewing old stuff retroactively. He gave Birth of a Nation and Triumph of the Will 4 stars.
The 1915 Birth of a Nation?
Yes. The D.W. Griffith.
Based.
It's really funny, too, because you read his reviews, and first of all, I'm just like, okay, 4 stars. Because here's the thing. If everybody doesn't know, it's an extremely racist movie, but, pioneered a lot of filmmaking techniques.
Yeah.
In his review, he basically is just like, for Triumph of the Will specifically, he's like, yeah, watch this movie and you would have to be a Nazi to really like this movie. There are certain parts of it that are just like so boring and it's just marching. But it is powerful propaganda for someone like that. 4 stars. I'm like, Ebert, what do you mean by that? Ebert, hold on.
He liked the sisters, by the way. He was married to one.
Really?
And the fact that he gave Birth of a Nation is, I've never seen it. And I think it is like really long, actually. But
it's like 3 hours at least.
The one thing I do know about it is it's a movie about how American society is crumbling because of black people. And the movie is about how the Klan are the heroes who are riding horses and rounding them up and killing them and saving America. That is just the plot of the movie.
Yes, this movie
is the reason why the Klan exists now.
Yes, it caused a resurgence in the Klan because of this movie and President Wilson showing it in the White House. He's like, this movie rocks. And everyone's like, don't fucking play that, dude. One thing I also found is really funny is he gave The Great Dictator 3.5. Not as good as Triumph of the Will, apparently.
Well, isn't The Great Dictator,
that is Charlie Chaplin. So
isn't that a satire?
It is a satire.
Hitler?
Yeah,
I've read Roger Ebert's reviews once. There was one period in my life for like a couple of weeks where on my like lunch breaks at work, I would go on my phone, search up reviews of movies that I loved to see what his opinion was because I was curious. I was trying to understand him. And his reviews, have you actually read like in detail? Have you read a full review?
Yes, I've read dozens of his reviews.
Okay.
Yes.
His reviews, when he generally is reviewing something well, but he doesn't really have a lot of passion for the thing, he really will just pull whatever. I remember reading his review for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and he doesn't understand what cinematography is because there's a section in his review where he's like, and the cinematography of this film is amazing. Now, before I continue, 2 things wrong. Number 1, he doesn't know what it is, and you're going to see why. Number 2, the thing that he's pointing out as being such brilliant cinematography is just a random detail in the movie that is meaningless. Have you seen the film?
I have.
You know when they're on the boat or when they're trying to get on the boat and Jack Nicholson is like, well, that's Dr. So-and-so, that's Dr. whoever, this is Colonel blah, blah, and we're going to, he's like giving them all identities and it's just cutting to close-ups of them and they kind of look distinguished. If you give them that identity, it's like, this is a crazy man, whatever. But then like you see Danny DeVito looking all weird, but you say he's a scientist and suddenly his eccentricities just seem like brilliance, right? In his review, he's like, well, the cinematography and the editing are just fantastic in this because in this scene, he describes a scene, he goes, and then it cuts to these close-ups and the editor was so brilliant about deciding to use these close-ups to establish. Okay, they filmed those close-ups. That is not the cinematographer's choice. Cinematography is mostly setting up lighting and making suggestions or working with the director to decide shot lists, but that was not the editor going rogue and deciding to create a montage in the thing. They filmed those shots for that purpose, for that scene. That's not the editor's choice. That's not the cinematography being brilliant. Cinematography is not framing a close-up. It is that is one piece of it. It is choosing the lens size, choosing the angle, putting the camera position such that the eye tracking is going to match from shot to shot. It's all of that stuff combined. And he doesn't know that. he doesn't actually understand. I guess I'm being unfair. Maybe he knows that and he just thinks that people don't. But I remember that burned in my brain of like, what the fuck is he talking about? And it reminded me of being in film school, because I remember we watched Memento, and I had already seen it. But if you don't know, the movie is told in not reverse chronological order, but half of it is, where it's a scene at the end of the movie, a scene at the beginning of the movie, then the second to last scene, then cut to the second scene, then the third to last scene, and you're eventually meeting in the middle. And our class talked about it like that was the editor's decision. And I'm like, it's obviously written and structured and was designed to be this way, you fucking And Ebert has that same, it like ignited that same rage of like, you don't understand, like, even when you're praising something, you don't even know how it ended up there. And it's not hard to understand. But he's just reaching for whatever. There's he doesn't have an expertise. He's just seen a lot of movies. He's not smart. He's just able to string sentences together.
He is articulate, and that's probably his greatest strength. But then you realize when you read a lot of his reviews that he's inconsistent, doesn't understand how movies work a lot of the time. He's like how Rick Rubin is a music producer, but he doesn't play any instruments. Ebert, I think, is in the same wavelength, where he doesn't understand really what makes a movie good, but he has swindled enough people to give him a newspaper column and a TV show that eventually they're just like, well, you get ratings.
If you can speak in a way where it just sounds like you're being intelligent, people just think you're intelligent. They just go, oh, wow, that was a really good point. But you don't even have to make a point. It's the illusion of content. Speaking of that, Pauline Kael.
This bitch.
So the impetus for this episode. I don't know a ton about Pauline Kael, or at least I didn't. I know a little more now. But I knew that she was famously like a dumb cunt who
yeah, you can say that.
Had a lot of weird rules about how she reviewed things and everything, which we'll get into here. I want to say, number one, Nick, I want you to imagine something for me, okay?
Okay.
Imagine, if you will, you're single. Imagine that we were talking and I said, oh, Nick, I met this girl who's single. She's interested in dating. I think you guys would get along. She's perfect for you.
Okay.
And she's beautiful and she's smart and she has a great job, ticking all the boxes of, oh, this would be a great potential girlfriend, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I tell you, her name's Pauline. Would you consider meeting this woman even?
Oh, it's like dating a dude named Hitler.
Pauline Hitler.
Pauline Hitler. Yeah. I don't know why that's tickled me so much. Pauline Hitler.
I think we found an episode title.
So stupid. It's the fucking stupidest thing we've said this entire episode.
Check yourolderbrothers.com in a few months for Pauline Hitler merch.
Yeah, if you want a Pauline Hitler t-shirt. It's so fucking stupid.
We're hungover.
So, no, I would not go on a date with Pauline Hitler.
Yeah, Pauline Kael. So, like, the ugliest female name, first name. And kale, the worst vegetable. Like, it just, I don't even know what this is, but I just got hung up on her name. Her name sucks. And her name is a perfect exemplification of her. She is ugly inside and out. She is, in my opinion, a complete fraud. Speaking of Roger Ebert just stringing sentences together, her reviews are nonsense. I don't know how she convinced every fucking person in the world that she's like saw through it all. And I don't know how she pulled this off, but her reviews are nonsense. Not in the same way as Ebert. Have you read Pauline Kael's reviews?
I remember reading something for, I think it was like American Psycho. It may not have been a review, but she was one of the people who like did not want that movie made.
That's interesting because she was dead when it came out, so that must have been.
Like that's
Vincent Gallo thing.
It's
part 2. Yeah, hard to remember where we were. We just took a pause break for a moment and realized that our friends have been listening to us in the other room for the last 20 minutes,
hearing the uncensored version of this.
Yes, they've been hearing all the words for a while now. But we were getting into Pauline Kael. Turns out, what was her name? Gloria Steinem
was the one who had a problem with American Psycho that I thought was Pauline Kael, who definitely is like a big like third wave feminist.
It would seem that way. She's I watched some clips of her. She's pretty well documented, obviously. I mean, Ebert is the more like household name critic, but Pauline Kael is the critic that movie people, like movie fans, are gonna they know Ebert the most.
Yeah,
movie makers respect Kael the most, generally speaking. She is like the You have a differing opinion?
Well, I don't respect Pauline Kael from everything I've heard and read about her and stuff she said.
I mean, talking about like filmmakers. Like Tarantino he respects Pauline Kael much more than Ebert. Don't make that.
I don't know if I agree with that.
It's true.
Well, make a case for it.
He gushes about her. He's in the documentary about her where he's like, Pauline was she gave you a reason to read her work. Like filmmakers, I mean, there's filmmakers of the day didn't love her, but the students, the people who were coming up and making movies when she couldn't really review them anymore.
Sure.
She had health issues and reasons why she stopped reviewing films basically in the mid to late 90s. And then she died a week before 9/11.
Dude, AIDS has ravaged this country.
What are you talking about?
Because I just assumed she died of HIV related.
Yeah, Pauline. So the impetus for this episode is that I just looked up something about her or something or read something online, and then we were planning out some episode ideas, and I was like, Nick, we got to do one on why film critics fucking suck. Because I'm on one right now about Pauline Kael and generally film criticism. This has just been a volcano that's been building up in me for a while. And we talked earlier about generally the problem with criticism and how people aren't reviewing films. They're not actually reviewing the film. They're really just, this is my opinion and here's why I don't like what they made. You know, it's become a cliche, but it is true of a lot of critics just review things where it's like, well, they didn't make the movie how I would have done it, so it's bad. Besides the feminism, what do you know about her?
That a lot of her opinions seem to go against the narrative. Stuff that people usually like, she doesn't. There was one, I don't remember all of her reviews, and you're probably going to teach me a bunch, but I think one of them was Taxi Driver. That was like the famous one.
That she wrote a scathing review of?
I believe so.
Let me double check my notes here. I did take note of, there are many, many films that she either panned or just was very critical of that are, number one, things that are kind of ubiquitously agreed. Even people who don't like them, it's like, well, this is not a steaming pile of shit, but she kind of reacted as if they were. Mm-hmm. And similar to Ebert, when you read her reviews, it's just nonsense. It's just filling time, trying to make it look like she's smarter than she is, you know?
Mm. It probably came from like a feminist point of view of how the movie, treats women, in general. And, I mean, the whole point of the movie is that Travis Bickle is not someone you're supposed to idolize too. And yeah. He definitely is the fucking just wants to have sex.
Yeah, she did review, she famously, not famously, but she notably hated Clint Eastwood and Dirty Harry and that kind of shit. And was like, she talked about how it was just, violence for the sake of violence. And Clint Eastwood, it was like, she criticized his acting ability and said that basically that the reason why people responded to him is because they're responding to the inner woman hater or something. And it's like, you're just kind of pulling that out of your ass. Yeah. That is not, Clint Eastwood's filmography is not about how women are dumb.
No.
And should be in the kitchen. I don't know if you could make an argument for that outside of one scene from one of the Dirty Harry movies where he's like, the reason the police force is woke now. But this is in the 80s,
Yeah.
So she had a few rules with reviewing things. Number one, she only watched things one time. And every critic, I would bet, is reviewing everything they've seen after one viewing, but she would not rewatch things. That was just a rule of hers.
Okay, because I do agree. I mean, most critics, whenever I do watch a movie and review it, it is usually my first time seeing it. Mm-hmm. And I'm not gonna, unless I have a reason to go back and be like, well, I want to see this again. I probably wouldn't see it a second time, but it's not something that I'm vehemently against.
Yeah.
I would see something a second time. I don't know why is she so against doing that then?
I don't know. I think it's just, I think when you're a hack, you just sort of invent, you just kind of create aspects of a big personality so that you have one. And then it creates this aura of your,
Oh, you know what it is? Because we were watching To Catch a Predator clips earlier. Yeah. When they get caught, it's Predator logic when someone gets caught. It's just like, oh, Pauline, or for example, the Predator will, Chris Hansen comes in and he'll be like, what are you doing here? And then the Predator's like, oh, I was just trying to make new friends. Yeah, I was getting new friends. Never said anything. We're hanging out. We're actually going to go. My wife's in the car. We were going to go chill with my wife. So I feel like she has that logic of Pauline, why do you only do this once? And then she's like, fuck, I can't just, say I got something wrong. She's like, yeah, only do it once. Yeah, it's the first experience or something like that.
Well, that is actually exactly the justification she gave, which is that she's a predator. No, it was that whatever hit her whatever she absorbed and got out of the movie in the initial experience, that is the valuable experience. So that's what she's going to document. And as I said, like, you know, that is what critics are doing. They're reviewing when a movie comes out and everyone's reviewing it. They're seeing the movie and they're giving you what they got out of it, you know, or at least what they observed about it. They're giving you their take after seeing it once. The thing is, Pauline Kael has some of the worst takes in the goddamn world. And she reviewed things where you question if she even watched it. And there is actually evidence for this. I forget what the movie was. It was some obscure thing. There's like movies she reviewed where she reviewed aspects of the movies that weren't in there. There was some film where like the screenplay was published in some book that she had read that like it can be confirmed she read, and she reviewed the movie but like mentioned scenes from the film that were not in the film but were in the original script, the intention.
Oh my goodness.
So she is a hack.
A literal hack of somebody who's
literal hack.
Oh, she has like the dream job of just watching movies for a living, and she's not doing it. Yes.
And she has the same disease as Roger Ebert, where the same brain disease of I am curating the correct opinion for the masses. She's telling you what is bad for you. Don't watch Clint Eastwood Westerns because that's going to teach you to be a violent chauvinist male or whatever. That's just one example. But her reviews of things, she over-intellectualizes things that don't have any deep meaning, and she completely under-intellectualizes things that actually are trying to make a point. She oversimplifies and completely like shrugs off things that actually are substantial if you give them a thought. There's certain movies like the Harmony Korine movies. The first time you watch them, you're not going to be able to really even make sense of what you think. I mean, you might go, oh, that sucked. Like your natural reaction when you see something weird, different, anything that challenges you is to probably shrug it off. But if you sit with it, if there is quality to the thing, it will reveal itself with time. So you kind of need a second viewing, or at least just time to sit and wait before you know.
I'm not saying that she thinks that a second viewing experience is bad, but the idea to be so dismissive of it, when a lot of my favorite movies that have become my top 10, I saw like multiple times, and that's when I realized that they were as good as they were.
Yeah.
I do think like a second viewing experience, and I don't expect her to do this because, you know, if you're watching every movie you review twice, you do half, you know, you get half the output.
Sure.
But to say that your first experience is the most important is so subjective, and I mean, that's every reviewer's job. I mean, they're subjective. But to be so headstrong that the first viewing experience is always the most important is so bizarre.
And to not, and I think it was a defense mechanism because she refused, because a lot of these things that she got wrong. So she, like 2001, we mentioned earlier, I don't give a shit about it. Actually, no, we talked about Alien, actually. I don't know if I mentioned 2001. I could not care less. I don't think it sucks. I recognize the positive qualities of it. She has some really wild, she hates it for objectively wrong reasons. Like, she just misunderstood the intention of the movie. I'll read some quotes in a second.
Oh, I'm excited.
She refused to go back. She was like, well, no, it's like when you're like a film is meant to wash over you. And I'm paraphrasing, but it's like her justification for the system is like, oh no, I'm not actually wrong. I'm not stupid, and I'm not small-minded. It's just that this is this is just a documentation of the initial impact of the thing. And if the initial impact of the thing left a bad taste in my mouth, it's not my job to go and, no pun intended, review it.
Oh my God.
Let's get into her reviews.
Yes, please. I'm so excited.
So this is a little tricky to do because her reviews, you kind of have to just buy shit in order to read her stuff. Like, it's not like RogerEbert.com where you can just read the full thing. Like, you can read excerpts on Rotten Tomatoes, which is most of what I have here is excerpts, but her, and it's usually a sentence, but all of the things I'm about to read are films that she gave that are technically the splat. These are things that she gave the thumbs down to in the Siskel Ebert thumbs up, thumbs down. Let's start with 2001. It's a bad, bad sign when a movie director begins to think of himself as a myth maker, and this limp myth of a grand plan that justifies slaughter and ends with resurrection has been around before.
Justifies slaughter?
What is she talking about?
What? Okay. As somebody who has seen the movie and read the book, what the fuck does she think that the monkeys, like, you know, hitting the bone and discovering that is justifying slaughter?
I have that's the only thing that could, not that it makes sense, but that's the only thing you can possibly imagine she could be talking about, because there's only 2 instances of violence in the movie, and that's one of them, and the other one doesn't have anything to do with mass death. Although not that the monkeys discovering tools does that. I mean, neither of those things are. It makes you wonder, did she pay attention? Did she think about it? Or did she just watch it? She didn't like it. And like Roger Ebert, she went, okay, let me find some ways to make it sound like I had a legitimate intellectual, I'm smarter than you reason for seeing through this. Yeah.
It's so shocking to me, because that's something that I doubt like an entry-level film school student who is like on the lower end of the class would even come to that conclusion as well. Like they would probably understand what that scene is saying. But for her to get it so wrong...
Yeah.
How?
She, this is not in, I've seen this. I think maybe this was in like Wikipedia. There is somewhere that there is a different quote she had about 2001 where she said that it suffers from a, quote, monumental lack of imagination. Okay. If there's one thing 2001 has for its day, was a very wide breadth of imaginative new ways of filming and even just getting across many different metaphysical existential ideas.
Yes. I mean, a lot of the zero gravity shots are still impressive to this day.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, immediately how they do some of this stuff. But for her to say it's unimaginative, especially the ending of 2001...
any aspect of it. I mean, if 2001 was just the apes, if it was just the human, not the human, but the Earth portion for the first like 20 minutes, that as its own is like a pretty perfect short film of like, wouldn't it be cool if the way that evolution got kickstarted was by aliens or you know, God or whatever it's supposed to be. But it's just baffling. Like what do you, okay, if that's a monumental lack of, this is what I mean, she doesn't even know what she's saying. She has to hate it. So, people are saying it's so imaginative, I didn't like it, so let me just say, you know what, mic drop, had no imagination. What is the argument for that? I
don't even have like intelligent words to criticize her with, because it's like, for example, like, you know, when you're teaching like a young kid like math or something, and you're just like, all right, 2 + 2, what is that? And he's like, green. And you're like, how do we? Well, I can say you're stupid, but it's like I don't know how to articulate in a better sense of why you're so dumb.
That's a perfect way, because I have the same problem. Like, because for the listeners, we are staring at each other with the widest eyes right now, because there's no way to even process this. If you've seen the film, it's just, you don't have to like it, but the things she calls out are objective facts about the movie. And she says, this is lacking that thing that is like inherently, there is no film before 2001 that touched on most of what 2001 touches on in the way that it does. That is the definition of an imaginative approach.
Yeah. Anyway. One of the most influential movies.
Yeah.
Was she reviewing this when it came out? When did she?
Yes.
Okay. So I was about to say, if she had this opinion in like 1990, where she just still misunderstood it,
that would be fun.
That would her just being so wrong.
She did, because she never changed her opinions. So she held it till the day she died. Till the day the towers fell, she was still like, you know.
This frigid old bat never went back. Never said she was wrong.
Yeah. 9/11 was God punishing us for allowing her to print 2001 slander.
There's a video of Bin Laden in the cave. It just translates just like, I do not like the writings of Pauline Kael. The West will pay for her crimes.
She's God. I mean, so I started this out. I think, I can't remember if this was on or off the mic, but I have called her a dumb cunt.
That was on the mic, I'm pretty sure.
Here's the thing. Let's talk about what it means to be cunty. There's a certain quality that I think anybody can have, and it's off-putting no matter who you are or how you present it. The smug arrogance of I'm right and I can't even believe that you would have that take. That is a turnoff no matter who you are. But when it's an old spinster hag doing it, it's especially annoying. I don't know why.
I think it's because we're misogynists.
That's what it is.
Yeah, that's what she would say.
Because I hate women.
Yeah, it's the Bill Maher thing, where he has the same problems that Pauline Kael has, where he's just very smarmy and refuses to admit he's wrong and will like dig himself into a hole to just like, you know, with whatever logic. He has an opinion, just runs with it. So it's not something that we're misogynists and hate that Pauline Kael.
Yeah.
We hate this as a thing. And I don't know what makes her so much worse.
I just realized it. It's not necessarily that she's a spinster butterface. The thing is, that's just what you use. Red Bar actually taught me this. Humans, we will use anything we can to justify the justified venom we feel towards somebody. So even if it's not because of how they look or how they whatever, like you just have to hate them in their whole essence, you know, like it is just like a natural, that is your inner hater. It's like, I hate what this person's doing or something about them irks me, so I'm just going to attack everything I can about them, you know? Here's what makes her so bad. It's that with Bill Maher, because Bill Maher is the same. It's the exact same smug, arrogant prick. And like, you're also wrong. You can't be this smug and wrong. But the thing is, everyone knows he sucks and pretty much everybody calls him out. And it's just accepted fact. I think the reason it's so bothersome with people like Pauline Kael is, number one, they are widely regarded as they were correct. They do, like, she is not getting called out the way that Bill Maher does, justifiably, you know. Number two, it's the built-in defense of, you're a misogynist if you're criticizing me. Anyway, so yeah, you can't, she's in a position you can't criticize. So she naturally doesn't. But she's just as hacky. She's equally as worthy of ridicule as Bill Maher. But she doesn't get it. So I think that's why it really lights a fire in my ass to be mad about this. Let's get into more reviews of hers. As I said before, you kind of can't read full reviews without buying books, and I can't allow any of my money to go to her estate. That would be just immoral. I can't cross that line. So if you, the listeners, if anyone out there, if you know a place to find her reviews and I'm just stupid and I didn't see it, email us because I'm interested in reading more of this shit. Chinatown. Have you seen it?
I have not, but I know this movie.
Objectively, one of the best films ever made. The best detective noir story that has ever been told. But the acting, everything about it soars. This is her snippet of her review. The film holds you in a suffocating way. Polanski never lets the story tell itself. I'm going to pause. What the fuck does that mean? That doesn't mean anything. Polanski never allows the story to tell itself. It's all over deliberate, mauve. I don't even know that word. Mauve? Nightmarish. Everyone is yellow lacquered and evil runs rampant. You don't care who is hurt since everybody is blighted. What she's trying to communicate, what she's doing there I'm going to use, not that blighted is a big word, but if I say blighted and yellow lacquered, if I use all these less than common adjectives and nouns to describe this thing, it'll couch the fact that what I'm really saying is this is a movie where there's moral ambiguity. And that makes me not, what's wrong with that? When is that a thing to criticize?
Does she even like movies at this point? Does she want like good guy? It's the thing now that people make fun of in modern movies where it's like everybody is either le good guy or le bad guy.
Yeah.
That Pauline Kael was born in the wrong generation. She should be a Chris Stuckman type now.
She should have been reviewing Endgame. Yeah, she would have loved it. She would have been like, the character motivations are so clear. Network. You seen it?
I've seen Network. I love it.
This is a review of Network. The film looks negligently made. Let's pause. What the fuck does that mean? Network is one of the most like perfectly shot and specifically staged in terms of where the actors are and where the camera's moving. The camera's like always moving and you don't even notice it. Like it's actually kind of one of the best directed films from that era when camera's really fucking heavy and it was hard to set up shots, you know?
It looks great. I don't know what the fuck she means by that.
No idea. Just digging in her ass and pulling out whatever she can. The film looks negligently made. The lighting bleaches the actors' faces like color TV that needs tuning, and the New York views outside feel like blown up photographs. There's like, 3 scenes in Network that take place outside? And they're huge wide angle shots of like everyone in an apartment building yelling, "I'm mad as hell." And it's a movie from the 70s where it was probably hard to do. And maybe one of those shots is of a model. I don't even know what she's talking about. This is just an excerpt from the review. It's not like it's the only thing she focused on. But the fact that shouldn't be in your review. What's she even saying? She's just basically saying, I didn't like how the movie looked. But everything she's mentioning doesn't make sense. You've seen it.
Yes. It's something that, like we said, we're saying this a lot. It's like just objectively wrong. Did she like forget to put her glasses on when she watched it? She's like everything, because it seems like maybe she just watched it like on a bad movie screen or something, or they didn't let her into the screener, so she had to like look. Yeah, she was peeping through the door. She's like, "This looks like fucking shit."
Yeah, maybe she just. I'm not even trying to be funny when I say this. She might have just. If she was in a bad mood, she was probably not going to mesh with the thing. And so she just found any reason to tear it down.
Yeah, I will say this. I think we talked about this last night off mic. But when you're like in an argument with a girl, it's like they will just be mean for no reason.
Yeah, if you're winning on a logic, if you have a foundational argument that is sound that can't be, then it will become personal attacks or things meant to,
Yeah, or like they'll just nitpick stuff that like doesn't really fucking matter. Yeah. It's like, how could you possibly care about that? Yeah. And then when you give them food or slap them around enough, they come to their senses.
Especially the latter. Barry Lyndon.
Love it.
Nick, brace yourself.
Okay.
Barry Lyndon, she doesn't, by the way, have a positive review of like any Kubrick movie. Barry Lyndon indicates that Kubrick is thinking through his camera, and that's not really how good movies get made.
This fucking dude. What? What the fuck?
Thinking through his camera. Now, I don't know what that means, but if anything, that's probably exactly what directors should do. Because it's a visual medium, and the story is the story, and the dialogue and the actors, they're going to cover the theatrical staging of it and everything.
Let me just say something. If you were critiquing like Starry Night by Van Gogh, and you said, yeah, I don't like this. It seems like he's speaking to us through his paintbrush. How the fuck else is he supposed to do it, you dumb cunt? That's what artists do. That's, like you said, it's his medium. That's his canvas. My God. This broad needs to be slapped up.
We need to piss on her grave. We need to go find where she's buried and deface
They just threw her in a hole. Her estate. Yeah. Did she ever have kids?
I don't know. I know she was married to a gay man, which tracks.
He was like, I need a beard. I need that.
I don't know if I think she had a daughter or something. I'm sure she has a daughter that like teaches piano lessons and has an apartment that smells like cat piss. You know what I mean? I think I'm exactly correct. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I was wondering if you're doing a reference to the piano teacher.
No, I did watch that though.
That's a very Pauline Kael type. That lady in there.
Yeah. I bet Pauline Kael did that scene. I bet she did that all the time. Sound of Music. You ready for this? Of course, it's well done for what it is. That is to say, those who made it are experts at manipulating responses. They're the Pavlovs of movie making. They turn us into dogs that salivate on signal. It's a musical that's meant to just be uplifting about life and how even in the most tragic of circumstances in not Nazi Germany, but Nazi occupied Austria?
Austria or the Netherlands, one of those two.
Yeah, something like that. It's just about how even in the worst of circumstances, the joy of music and just joy can make life worth living.
It's people persevering.
It's just a movie about it's just a life affirming message. And she's like, okay, it's literally Bill Maher. Like, I don't need you trying to tell me everything's sunshines and rainbows. Okay.
The idea also of her being just like, yeah, this emotionally manipulates you. It's a movie. Of like the Nazis and how bad they were for Europe and humanity.
Top tier.
It's like, are you defending Himmler or something, dude? What?
We need to make those Pauline Hitler shirts.
She really is Pauline Hitler. I looked over. Yes. Yeah.
Pauline Hitler. I'm pretty sure you haven't seen it because this is a little bit kind of forgotten movie. Have you seen Tender Mercies, or do you know what that is?
I don't know.
It's a quaint little drama from the 80s starring Robert Duvall. He won an Oscar for it, actually. It's a good movie. I like it a lot. It's kind of it's similar to Starman, where it's not trying to be anything grand. It's just straightforward. It's actually very similar to Starman in terms of emotion. It's just a little drama about a Western singer. This is her review. I kept waiting for Tender Mercies to get started, to get into something. I was still waiting when it was over, and I was back out on the street.
On the street corner.
She was working the corner.
In between John, she's just like, well, made $2 tonight. I can finally go to Cineplex.
She's the only female hooker in history to live out the plot of Midnight Cowboy where she just couldn't get a John. It's like, that's unsuccessful. Tender Mercy, it's really funny that her problem with Tender Mercies is that, quote unquote, it never gets started, because Tender Mercies is it's like 90 minutes long, and it's a style of movie. Have you ever seen Terms of Endearment?
Yeah, long ago, but
or like Last Picture Show. Larry McMurtry actually wrote the books for both those, but those kinds of movies where it's kind of just a bunch of vignettes that kind of take place over time, where it's not like a plot. It's just sort of like, here's a thing, here's a thing, here's a thing. And by the end of the movie, 10 years, 20 years have passed. And what had it's just about like the passage of time and how life is not that exciting, but it's a touching movie, I think, and most people could like it. This would be the equivalent of reviewing John Wick 2 and being like, what's with the breakneck pacing? Like, that's what it's designed to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, why is this action movie going quickly?
What's with all this exciting music and gunfire?
Like I said, she probably just doesn't like movies.
I think she's a dyed-in-the-wool contrarian, because there are things that she reviewed well that are generally reviewed well, but it's more rare. It's pretty common for her to kind of just shit on things that resonates with human beings.
I actually have a theory about why she writes like such dog shit. I think she is trying to coin the new phrase Like, she's trying to make a phrase work. Like, what'd she say? Like, the jukebox
look.
Jukebox look. And, like, that's something that nobody has ever said before because it's stupid. But she's trying to coin it as her phrase, as like a Kaelism. In her brain, that's what I think she's trying to do.
You're probably right. Stardust Memories. Did you watch this? This is Woody Allen?
No, that wasn't on, like... I watched, like, 8 of his movies, but that wasn't
Okay.
on.
Stardust Memories, if you don't know, quick summary, because then this is relevant. Stardust Memories is Woody Allen's movie. It's like his third movie after Annie Hall. And it is his first, like, self-referential. I guess Annie Hall is technically, but it's his first, like, direct self-referential. He's basically playing a Woody Allen type guy who makes comedy movies, who's doing, like, a film festival circuit. And the whole movie, there's, like, this running gag where everywhere he goes, he's just trying to, like, live his life and do whatever. And people are like, oh my God, you're like, basically they're saying you're Woody Allen and sign my thing. Your movies are so funny. Oh, I miss when you made the comedies before you started doing the brooding stuff. And it's like, obviously, and it's kind of just like, it's sort of self-satire and self-parody about how you'd have to be stupid to be that upset about people loving everything you do, kind of. Went right over Pauline Kael's head. This is her review. In Stardust Memories, Woody Allen degrades the people who respond to his work and presents himself as their victim. Because she's projecting the fact that she resents that she is not a movie maker. Because I don't know if you know this, she had a failed Hollywood career.
I did not know this.
Yes. Warren Beatty, who I guess they were chummy, like flew her out to Hollywood to produce some movie. And then James Toback, who's since been Me Too'd for raping like tons of people.
Oh my God.
James Toback at the time was developing this film that she was going to produce. And he was like, yeah, this bitch doesn't know what she's doing. I hate her. I want her off the movie. She then was like reassigned to work with this producer, Don Simpson, who, if you don't know, Jerry Bruckheimer's.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And he apparently like hated like everything she developed. He's like, no. And he's not the guy who's going to respond to, like, they could not be more oil and water probably, but she never actually got anything off the ground. Everyone in Hollywood hated her because, number one, she had just been roasting their asses forever and writing unfair reviews. That's the main thing. Mm-hmm. Hollywood did not hate Roger Ebert. Much as of a hack as he is, and as mean as he was to certain films, most of Hollywood does not have a problem with him.
Yeah.
Because I think he was never like nasty to individuals, with the exception of people like Carpenter and Lynch and whatever. Like, for the most part, he wasn't even when he didn't like he poorly reviewed some of Scorsese's films, but he was never like character assassinating him about it.
Yeah.
Kael did that.
Yeah, there is actually a thing of Ebert on the red carpet for Mulholland Drive, and he's talking to Lynch, and he's just like, David, I don't understand a lot of stuff that I've seen this movie. It's just like, can you explain it? And Lynch is like, no. But they're good. Like they still had a relationship, and even though Ebert didn't really like a lot of his stuff, they still were nice to each other, cordial. From everything you're telling me, I would find it very hard for filmmakers to be nice to Pauline.
Yeah. The reviews themselves are equally as invalid as some of Ebert's, but the fact that she's always assigning motives. You know what? Here's another reason I hate Pauline Kael that's like specific to me. She reminds me, I had some very interesting teachers when I was young. I had multiple teachers that were exactly like this, where they just hated boys.
Oh yeah.
And so if you were just, because like I was not a crazy child, but you know, I talked and I was out of my seat a little bit more than you should be or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I did not like see the playground in second grade.
Oh my God.
Like I was held in from recess, like literally all the fucking time. And that teacher had this exact same. It was just where like, she's just out to get you. And you do something completely innocuous and it's immediately assigned this like motive of like nastiness, and then you're punished for it. And that is what she clearly loved doing. She clearly got off on like, I am going to fucking destroy you. Like she loved that power that she had, you know?
Dude, that makes so much sense now. I had a teacher in 4th grade who was like that, who just hated all men. Just a real misandrist. And then like I asked my mom, I was just like, why is this lady like such a bitch? And she's like, oh yeah, so it was a white lady. It's like, yeah, she married a black dude and then he like left her and like knocked her up. And I'm like, okay. So that for me, I was just like, oh. First of all, it's very funny for my mom to tell me that when I'm like 10 years old.
Good on your mom for being like, hey, that's what it is.
But it was that thing where I'm just like, oh, okay. So definitely some man, you know, pump and dumped you and left you with a kid that you probably hate. I think he came out, he had some type of like syndrome. I don't know if it was Down. Some type. Yeah. But he was fucked up in some way. And
That's such a mean way to put it. He was fucked up in some way.
Her fucked up pussy. Yeah, so her baby comes out all jumbled. Her husband, I mean, they probably weren't married. He probably hit it and quit it. But yeah, he left, and then she just decided, I'm going to hate all men now. And I saw her like years later working at AMC, and she wasn't looking too good.
Good.
Yeah.
Couple more reviews to run back. Full Metal Jacket. You ever heard of it?
It used to be one of my top 10.
Really?
Yeah.
Here's a review. What happened to the Kubrick who used to slip in sly, subtle jokes and little editing tricks? Pause. Full Metal Jacket is fucking full of humor.
Yes.
It is. I mean, it's black humor, but that's the humor that Kubrick dealt in his entire career. Full Metal Jacket has it in spades.
Yes. The first act alone is hilarious.
Yes.
Yeah.
And even if it didn't work for you, she's implying that it wasn't even, because she's not saying I didn't find it funny. She's not saying I found it unfunny for these reasons, which would be even better, because I don't care if you laugh. I want to know if I'm going to laugh. Tell me what the humor. She's acting like it's not even, she is saying, why didn't Kubrick even try to put it in there? It's obviously there. You either are so dumb, and I don't even believe that she's so dumb it went over her head in this case. I think she just didn't like the movie. She was on her period, so she had to say, well, my God, Kubrick's lost his way. But you never positively reviewed the other things he did in this vein.
Yes.
You hated Barry Lyndon, which has the exact same humor. Anyway.
It's also funny because one of the most famous quotes from Full Metal Jacket is when the prostitute walks up to them and she's like, oh, me so horny. That's exactly what she's talking about, that she said it doesn't have all these jokes. It's like the most famous scene, and him doing karate after the guy steals his camera.
Oh, be a man. That's my Vietnamese accent. Raging Bull. Okay. Scorsese. So Mean Streets, there is audio of Woody Allen and Pauline Kael on the radio talking about Mean Streets. And Pauline Kael says it came out in 1973, same year for note as The Exorcist, The Sting, The Last Detail, Serpico, multiple like American hard hitting, like she said she claims that Mean Streets is the best movie she saw that year, which, okay, that's your opinion. Sure. Fine. Whatever. I don't think so, but whatever. And Woody Allen agrees. He's like, oh yeah, it's so real. It was this new thing. And I can see how for the time that would be a very universally like, whoa, this is completely fresh. But then she talks about, and she goes, and Warner's has no faith in this. They've done a terrible job marketing it and whatever. And she starts character assassinating the people at Warner Brothers who probably didn't put a lot of money into it, because I don't know if you've seen it.
Mean Streets?
Yeah,
I've seen it, yeah.
It's a very lo-fi movie that was never going to be a box office hit. Like, you would just be throwing money away, and they put all their time and attention into marketing The Exorcist, which for the time was the highest grossing movie. It was in theaters for like 2 years straight. That's how much people were watching it.
Damn.
And then Woody Allen is like, well, actually, and she's like, I don't know why they'd be doing, they're so dumb, because she's dumb. And Woody Allen, in the nicest way he can, goes, well, actually, because he can't just say no, Pauline. So he has to like do his shtick. And he's like, well, actually, it's very interesting because I was seeing The Exorcist, and, the audience was really responding to it. And then I saw it the next day, and Pauline goes, you saw that twice? Yeah, I did. Yes, I did. Yeah. And he doesn't even like he just like lets her have that, but she's just doing her Bill Maher thing to him. She's like, I can't believe you saw that drivel 2 times. I mean, The Exorcist, what even? Objectively better movie than Mean Streets, in my opinion. I agree. I don't know how anyone could watch both of those, and like maybe you prefer one, and he's like, well, the audience was really responding, in the scenes with the mother and the crucifix. I mean, they were really affected by it, and they were walking out and they were like, oh my God, and he's trying in the nicest way he can to be like, yeah, these other people, but what he's really saying is, Pauline, this is the thing that people fucking care about. That's why they're, and she doesn't hear it.
He's like, you're in the minority when you think this, and I'm giving you like empirical,
elbowing her like mentally, you dumb bitch. She does not. It goes completely over her head. I recommend everyone to find that audio. It's like 5 minutes on YouTube. It's amazing. Raging Bull, though. Okay, so she's praising Mean Streets. If there's one thing that Mean Streets has in common with anything else Scorsese ever did, it's Raging Bull. In terms of very lo-fi, kind of rambly, non-plotted, you kind of just like throw a bunch of scenes down a staircase and order them kind of thing.
Sure, I can see what you're getting at.
And I'm not necessarily comparing them. I don't think of them as similar in my own head, but that if there's anything they share, it's that. Here's her review of Raging Bull. And remember, she said Mean Streets was the best film she had seen in 1973. 7 years later, 1980. Scorsese wants his B-movie seaminess and spiritual meaning, too. By removing the specifics and blurring them, Scorsese doesn't produce universals, he produces banality. Number one, that is word salad. None of that. I defy you to tell me what that meant. Number two, she's calling it a B movie.
Yes.
It's a biopic. It is unique in that it's a biopic that's made like a grungy, mean streetsy thing. Like, it's not as polished as everything else he ever tried to do. You know, even if the product didn't end up polished, Scorsese tries to make everything very neat and clean for the most part, you know. What the fuck is her problem? She's not even picking on anything that makes sense. That's what you praised about his first big thing.
It's the same inconsistency you see in Roger Ebert, where it's like, oh, I like these elements about this movie. And it's like, okay, what about this one, which is well received, well written, and has the exact same elements. And he's just like, I hated it. So is there some type of like airborne miasma of Down syndrome that has gone through like the Hollywood foreign press and reviewers?
There must be. Last one. Strap in. Nick, what's your take on Clockwork Orange?
I actually haven't seen it.
Well, are you not wanting to see it, or is it just...
I just haven't gotten around. I own it. It's on my shelf right here, but I just haven't.
Oh, okay. Yeah. If you like Barry Lyndon, if you used to have Full Metal Jacket in your top 10, you're probably going to at least like it.
I would assume so.
It's not... I've seen it twice, and it's not what its reputation is. It's not just violence.
Torture porn.
Yeah, it actually is a very funny movie, and it's actually a very powerful anti-violence, anti-nihilism effect. It's not preachy about it, but if you can't watch that movie and finish it and be like, dude, it's fucking base to be like Patrick Bateman. Like, it's pretty much impossible. They say you can't make an anti-war movie because every movie just makes war look badass to boys, you know, but like, this is as close as you can get to an anti-senseless violence movie, I think. Quote, I can't accept that Kubrick is merely reflecting this post-assassinations, post-Manson mood. I think he's catering to it. I think he wants to dig it. So this movie came out in 1971. So we're 2 years removed from Manson. Yep. We are 7 years from JFK, Malcolm X, MLK. She views this movie as Kubrick trying to placate to people that are pro-assassin.
Is she trying
What's she implying here?
The mental gymnastics required for this is unbelievable. I mean, like I said, I haven't seen it, but everything I know about it is definitely not like, oh, the people in this movie are doing cool things and you should do it.
So it's possible that what she's trying to get across is that in this rapidly, like, in this society that's rapidly losing its innocence, in these post-assassination, post-Manson world, what we really need is a time for healing. But Kubrick is reveling in the nihilism of, wake up, world, it's actually a black society, you know, it's a black-eyed nihilism ahead of us. I think that's what she's trying to say. The movie does the exact opposite of that, and I don't know how you could watch that unless you're literally 10 and you're just watching it and just being like, oh, they're really cool, I guess.
He hit the guy funny. He drank the milk funny.
He beat the woman to death with penis. That does happen.
Dude, I need to watch this tonight.
It's great. I mean, we just have shit shoved on us all the time. Like, Pedro Pascal is just crammed down your throat or whatever, but at least people recognize that he's not special. Or at least some people do. Like, people are like tired of him, you know. Why is Pauline Kael respected?
You know, honestly, what it is going to be very misogynistic. It probably is because she's just like a female voice. And a lot of people just want, you know,
maybe.
I mean, it is always good to have film critics of different backgrounds because they will look at a film in a different way than you. It's a unique way. Sure. Even if the reviewer is like, you know, same race and gender, it is going to be unique because of the experiences they've had and the world they've grown up in.
Yeah.
I think that she was just the most outspoken. She's very outspoken. She loves speaking.
She loves running her mouth.
Running her stupid mouth. She probably just said so much shit that people are just like, well, Pauline is getting a lot of eyes on her for saying some dumb women shit. So let's invite her to this, whatever, on the press junkets, all that shit. Yeah.
You could be right. And it also could be right place, right time. The way that, like, Halloween is not a great movie, but it was the first one that did that. So it just naturally, like, she was the first of a few things. She was the first, like, widely read and appreciated, like, female film critics and also just film critics. And she was, unlike a lot of film critics at the time, she was uniquely brutal. And, you know, I mean, I guess if you hated Tender Mercies, you're going to love reading her review because it's the only review you'll find at that time that's going to be scathing, you know, and it's to that degree and, you know, be quote unquote real in that way.
Is she the original, like, your movie sucks type then?
Yeah. Kind of.
Yeah. Just dissing on everything.
The original hater.
God. Yeah. What an accomplishment.
Well, they're dead now, but, you know, their legacy lives on, and, you know, many critics today that are extremely boring and hack are still making a living doing kind of nothing of value. Like I said earlier, I can't think of one.
Yes.
I can't think of a good film critic.
Being a film critic should be something you're embarrassed to tell your parents you do.
Right now, yeah, for sure. Yeah, you need to have like a lot. It's like how Stan Lee would be like, I make children's books, because he was like, it was shameful to say I read comics in the day. Comics. You know, like, yeah, if you're a film critic, you should be like, I'm a pedophile, actually.
Actually, I have sex with children.
Wait a second, you're a film critic. No.
Please. Kids, only kids. Yeah.
Patreon.com. If there is a good, I'll end with this. And you're not funny if you point out Armand White. He's, I don't know if you know who that is. Armand White is a dyed-in-the-wool contrarian who just hates literally everything that's good and praises everything that's bad. If you go on Rotten Tomatoes, you look at him, whatever the movie, whether it's a splat or a fresh tomato, his review is going to be the opposite.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. He is a famous hack who doesn't care about when he belongs to the New York Film Critics Association, and when 12 Years a Slave was given best film by them, he apparently was in the back, because it's in like a dining hall. Steve McQueen went on stage and was like accepting the award, and Armand White was in the back going, "Kiss my ass!"
Dude, he sounds like he rocks.
He kind of does, but you know, everyone just jokes whenever you see anything on Reddit, anything about film criticism, like, you know, the art of everyone's always like, Armand White's pretty good. You know? But if there is a critic out there who actually is doing the job and worth reading or worth watching, let us know. Write into us at yourolderbrothers@gmail.com. And subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/yourolderbrothers, $5 a month. It's worth it.
Instagram is Your Older Brothers Podcast. We have that up and running. We got about 20 followers now.
20 and growing.
20 and growing.
Although if you're listening 5 years from now, as you know, we are now co-presidents.
We now have 21 followers.
Hail Kael.
Hail Kael.